Okay, guys, we are back with another episode of the Mono Radio.
Yeah.
Today it's myself, Kim, and Tash.
Me.
Yes. I'm going to kick off with a couple of housekeeping things. So first of all, Tash, we have 12 days of Christmas coming up. Biggest workout of the year.
It is. Funnest workout of the year for us as well.
I agree. Can you tell everyone a little bit about what's happening and what they need to do prior to that?
Yep. So it's already set up on a Zen Planner. So people can pretty much go onto our the Mono Gym Zen Planner calendar to the 21st of December and book themselves into the class. We usually only allow like 8-day ahead bookings, but we've increased it for this one so people can start booking in now. It is quite open to everyone to come through, but we do need to obviously have numbers and an understanding of how many people are coming through. So the more people that check in, the better. And we are going to set it up in a really awesome way. So make sure you're here. And even if you have Christmas parties the night before and you're too drunk, just come in anyway. But we are going to try and make a nice little event of it in the morning as like our little last hoo-ha for the year before we all break off into a little Christmas sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of things. I shouldn't be saying this because I'm the worst, but encourage dress-ups.
Yes. Oh my God, I completely forgot. How could I forget?
I mean, I've put on a red T-shirt, I think, the last couple of years, so I haven't done well, but there's been some amazing costumes by other people.
Oh, I'm going to miss Greg Bambury's good old knitted sweater every year. That was a great
the Christmas
one.
sweater, yeah. That's always a fun one.
I think last year we had some really good ones where Jeanette had a sleigh attached to her.
That's right.
And then Draz came like with a blow-up reindeer, I think. It was a pump-up reindeer.
I think he was the best one last year. His was amazing.
He definitely won best dress. But yes, dress up, best Christmas attire. Get creative as you want, or just wear like red, green CrossFit apparel stuff.
You can come in, Lockie. We're recording at the gym, but
there's a gym
Lockie
in the
might be training in the background. That's totally fine. We encourage training. No. Train, Lockie. So dress up, we encourage.
Yeah, or even just the theme colours. Like if you don't want to come up dressed, just, wear a hat or something festive.
Worst case scenario, have the Christmas spirit.
Exactly. Get ready for some Mariah Carey Christmas carols.
And we discussed this actually last night at training. So usually that session, from my memory, has been super busy, but I think last year it kind of coincided with some other things, so it wasn't as busy last year. So we're quite unsure about how many people are going to get here. So again, try and book into Zen Planner if you're coming, or at least tell Sean and Tash at the gym.
Yeah.
If you don't have a smartphone these days.
Yeah, and we'll also be, we are going to try and get a few things in. We don't want to make a few promises, but I'm trying my best, so I don't want to say it out loud. And then we also will be announcing our Member of the Year. We did say this at the Christmas party, that we do have one Member of the Year, not male, female this year. We're just giving the one ultimate. And we are going to announce them. And then also just a nice little farewell to Kylie, because Kylie is going to be finishing up with us and moving to Melbourne. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Shit, it's all happening.
I know.
Awesome.
Big changes.
All right, next thing I wanted to ask about before we dive into nutrition is how's the sauna going? What's the feedback from the members? And have you guys had any issues or anything that you want to mention?
Yeah, no, the sauna's awesome. The sauna's really, really good. I think it's gotten a lot more attention than what we initially even expected. And, we've actually gotten a few teams in. So we've got a rowing team that come in once a week all together. Or like not all together because it's like you fit 2 standard people in there and 1 rower. But they come in and like they must have this off day because they all book on that day.
Yeah.
I think
Mitchy Foreign's group.
Yeah, Mitchy Foreign coaches them. It's Mitchy Foreign's group. So they come in and like it's been awesome even having them utilize it. Like people outside of the gym coming through. I think people have even been gifted with it from our members, so they've come through. But people are loving it, and you can definitely see the people that really appreciate its benefits because they're the ones that are booked in about 1 to 2 times a week and at a constant regular time too. And you can see the benefits on them even from Sean and myself. Like the number one thing, I was pretty skeptical about it. The number one thing I saw from it was skin clarity. Like about 3 sessions in, my skin cleared up so much. It was crazy. And even just from like a detoxification process, you can feel when your body has had a big weekend. So it's actually, if you're not really too keen to jump back in, especially in this festive season now with all these weekends being full of what it is, parties, luncheons, dinners, it is actually a really good thing to book in for Monday instead of a training session if you feel like your body's still pretty run down.
It's a good point.
Yeah, and so like we went in there on Monday after our Christmas parties, and Sean and I sat in there for half an hour, and like we were sweating within like 2 minutes. We were just like, clearly there's something to come out here.
Yeah.
So it's actually really, really good right now for the next 2 weeks as you're leading in, and you just kind of want to keep your overall health and well-being up.
Yeah, we're so lucky to have that sauna, and just to put it into context a bit, when we trained at Taronga Place, I was always looking for somewhere in Monavale to utilize the sauna, and I got a couple of free memberships, like 3 weeks at Fitness First, and when I used the sauna there. But now that we have it at our gym, it's so much easier. It's awesome to have it in our space. And some of the takeaways that I can share from using the sauna here is, number one, make sure that you hydrate before and 100%. During.
And during. You get so thirsty in there.
Yeah, I've usually done it with someone else. So I've shared the sauna with Buster or with Dan or with Nick. And like the difference on someone hydrating before and during is massive.
Yep.
So make sure you do that. We also did one sauna after... I'd say a medium to hard training session, and that was tough. That was way tougher. So
your core temperature's already up,
you're
pretty
sweating.
Much going in there at what it's supposed to do.
I'd say if I would do it after a training session again, I would definitely do it shorter, so maybe under 30 minutes, maybe just 20 minutes. But I definitely prefer to do it off training, or maybe I haven't done it before.
I wouldn't actually even recommend it to anyone who hasn't tried it before either. To put it straight after a session,
definitely
not. Actually, a member of mine actually asked me this morning, when do you recommend for me to kick off? I have a few days off coming up. Like, I want to try a few sauna sessions. And I said to him, I'm like, to be honest, like when I did my first few, it really run me down and I was tired. So I would have said like you would actually have a really good night's sleep. So maybe come in the evening, go home, have dinner, refuel, and then go to bed. And I think that you'll sleep like a baby. So good. Yeah.
Right now, I'm used to taking them. So I think my preference is in the morning. For me. And I feel really energized during the day, but you're right. I think
once you're at that, like your body's detoxified already, like it's at that process of used to it, it's easier. Yeah. But initially, like, and so many people I spoke to who did their first one, so don't fret if you do your first one and you feel like this. A lot of people felt like they almost got like head colds or oh
wow, really?
Yeah, or like they just felt run down and fatigued, and I was just like, that's just a detoxification symptom. Do you know what I mean? Like if you've never really done anything like this before, and then your body has so many toxins and chemicals to wean out, it's going to be pretty draining. Yeah.
Difference between booking a 30-minute session and a 60-minute session. What do you recommend?
Intro, 30-minute session.
Yep. First timer.
Yeah. Unless you've got a really good podcast to listen to for an hour that will occupy your time, 60 minutes is okay. I did actually go for an ocean swim one morning and then came in for a sauna, and I put in a 60-minute session, and I'm not going to lie, maybe because of how cold the ocean was, I didn't actually start sweating till the last like 15 minutes. I was in there for 45 minutes and I was like, I feel fine. Yeah. I think it took a while for my core body temperature to rise up again from that. So in that type of situation, maybe, but I would always tell everyone, just start off with maybe like 2 or 3 30-minute ones, see how you handle it. And then if they just like that, then buy a 10-pack of that and stick to it. But then upgrade to a 60-minute later. Yeah,
60 minutes actually isn't that long when you're used to it now. Like I felt like the last 10 minutes is pretty tough.
But again, like if you're listening to something good, or like you can occupy your time almost in there, it's fairly easy.
Quickly. Yeah. Last question about the sauna is, do people have to give you heads up to pre-warm it? Like so you can start up the sauna beforehand, or what do you guys prefer there?
We are still jumping on top of this process ourselves. So this is still kind of like a new thing for us in the back end of things. So as soon as you purchase it and book your time, we can see it in the Staff Zen Planner app. So it comes up straight away. So I usually check it the night before to see if there's any times, but I have been sprung that I go to bed at like 9 p.m. and some people have booked it at 10:30, and I just happen to have forgotten it to check it in the morning. Yeah. So I've had 1 or 2 people rock up where I'm just like, give it 10 minutes or heat up. But no, like they really don't have to give us warning. Maybe if you're doing a bit of a last minute one, just shout out to Sean and I. If you've kind of just said like, I want to go in 2 hours time, just make sure we've checked it. But we do check the Zen Planner app as often as we can, and we are in the process of trying to find a way for it to notify us, because that's the one thing that we haven't really found yet.
So maybe a good summary at the moment is if you book last minute or you book really late after, our bedtime, which is pretty early.
Normal bedtime.
Just give you guys a heads up, because you do want to, if you book it, say, for 5:30 a.m. in the morning, you want to come in and you want it to be warm.
Ready.
It takes about 20 to 30 minutes for it to heat up properly. Okay, cool.
Easy.
All right, let's dive into nutrition. So massive topic at the moment, because
huge.
A lot of things. Game Changers has gone gangbusters on Netflix, and if you haven't seen it, it's a very slick movie or slash documentary. I don't know if I really want to call it a documentary.
Very well made
about the vegan diet. And just to summarize a little bit, so that's obviously pro-vegan, and I was, to be honest, super excited before it came out to watch it, and then when I watched it, I got a bit annoyed because the science presented is pretty vague or dodgy, and then there was a huge debunking of it on Joe Rogan by a guy called Chris Kresser. And then James from the Game Changers, he's the main producer, came on Joe Rogan and actually kind of debunked the debunking, and he did very well, which surprised me. So I'm more confused than ever. But I think for now, for this, what I wanted to do with this podcast was to kind of ignore that a little bit, because the number one the number one nutrition course amongst trainers these days is precision nutrition. And that's a course that you done, Tash.
Yes.
So I thought a good topic would be to get your biggest takeaways from it.
Yeah, of course. So I signed up to the course, did it, and I'm not going to lie, it surprised me a little bit when you kind of assume yourself into these courses. I kind of bought it because I was loving nutrition in general. My first love for it kind of came about when I was competing and I was working with Robbie, and I was just amazed at what it did to me. And I still remember Sean's brother Dan even turned to me once and he was just like, he goes, "You don't need any drug. You don't have to take any sort of substances or anything like that." He goes, "Nutrition is your number one drug." He goes, "That can in itself change everything in performance." And so I really delved into it, did my hunt. And then as I started to watch it change me and my performance for that last year that I competed, it was nuts. And that's when I wanted to delve deeper into this ocean.
Awesome. It's funny because we always say, I mean, even when you're a trainer and you have clients in here, you kind of say nutrition is 80% of it, and
100%.
The training in here is 20%. So nutrition is huge.
Exercise is the king, nutrition is the queen. Together you have a kingdom.
True. That's a good saying. I haven't heard that one before. Okay, so let me start with just explaining to people what the Precision Nutrition course is, and I'm just going to pretty much read it off their website, because some of the listeners might not have heard of what it is. So the Precision Nutrition Level 1 certificate is the world's most respected nutrition education program. It gives you the knowledge, systems, and tools to really understand how food influences a person's health and fitness. Plus the ability to turn that knowledge into a thriving coaching practice, etc., etc. I'm not going to go into all of this, but basically the Precision Nutrition curriculum stands alone as the authority on the science of nutrition and the art of coaching. So this is obviously from them, but it's very well respected within the industry.
100%. And I totally understand why now after doing it. I didn't expect it to be as thorough and as amazing as it was when I started. So the way it is, it's broken down into Unit 1 and Unit 2. So half and half, basically, like an even split. Unit 1 is all the science behind nutrition. And I'm talking when I opened the book, there were some chapters that I had to read 5 or 6 times for it to get through my head, because it's chemistry. You're reading about, it breaks down the chains of carbohydrate and, monosaccharides, polysaccharides, and what makes up a protein and what makes up fat. And it just goes down to the chemical level of everything. And then the beauty of it all was that it breaks everything down in the sense of, the body, energy balance, the GI tract, how your body starts, even from the moment you take something in. So sense of smell, taste, tongue, the importance of saliva and production there, and chewing. And then the whole process of going down into your stomach, everything.
Many things we don't think about.
The book breaks it all down and just tells you how it is, like the reason your body does what it does, and then the reason and how it takes in carbohydrate and why, how it takes in fat and why, and how it takes in protein and why, how those macronutrients are important. Then it breaks down micronutrients, so it goes into your vitamins and minerals and the importance of them and the role they play in your body. It's incredible. Like, it was so in depth. And one of actually my favorite ones is one of the last chapters in Unit 1, which is fluids and water. That was actually a really, really good one too.
A lot of people say that's kind of a big takeaway, the hydration base.
Yeah, like you just never think about it. But then they in the book, they break it down for you as to how important it actually is. Like, here's all this food stuff, and we've all been taught that, food is so critical to our survival because obviously we need to eat. But they were just saying just like how critical fluid is as well, because your body is pretty much like, 70-80% or something ridiculous in water.
Well, you can survive a long time without food, but you can't survive very long without water.
Exactly. Yeah. And then they just break it up into that sense. And then another really good part of it was more along like the athletic performance side of it. So they do teach you, like if you're an everyday person, fine, just stick to like that 1-2 cups with every meal you're aiming for. You can actually calculate how much you should be hydrating to your own personal body as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was... I don't know, all I know is that for me, as like a 65 kilo person, it weighed up that I should be having like 2.3 liters of water a day.
2.3, yeah.
Yeah. So like you can calculate it. I can't remember. It was like per gram or per kilo of body weight. It was something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like you can calculate how much you should be consuming. And then Unit 2, which once Unit 1's done, that's all the science, here it is. Unit 2 is all focused on teaching you how to deal with people and nutrition.
Yeah.
So
massive.
Yeah, and it's actually really cool how they break it down in precision nutrition and their whole methodology of teaching people, breaking people up into groups, and if you ask certain questions, get a bit of information, you can actually categorize people into like level 1, level 2, level 3, how to deal with those different people.
What's going to be effective for them, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And like they do teach you, they pretty much emphasize that like 95% of your clients will be level 1 all the time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So it's easy in that sense that you just have to really focus on the level 1.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. So I want to go into a couple of specific points and for you to elaborate on them. I think before we go into that, I want to say that, number one, neither myself or Tash is a nutritionist.
No.
But we probably have a little bit more knowledge than just your average general person from experience from being a trainer.
Yeah.
But I also think nutrition can be a very touchy subject for people. So 100%. If there's some stuff that we say in the podcast, feel free to disagree. That's totally okay. I always say that, there's 3 topics that really can get people going, and that's politics, religion, and food.
Yeah.
And so food is a big one.
Nutrition is let's agree to disagree.
Yeah. It's not a straight answer for everyone. Yeah. That's for sure. So again, listeners, if you disagree with someone, that's totally fine. If you want to ask Tash some more questions, you can obviously do that at the gym.
100%.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So your number one from the list that you sent me, takeaway from Precision Nutrition, is the breakdown of each macronutrient, so fats, proteins, and carbs, what each of them are and why our bodies need them and how they work together.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that point a little bit?
Yeah. So my 3 favorite macronutrient topics. So the beauty of that was like it teaches you pretty much like what makes up a carbohydrate and how it's digested and absorbed in the body and why the body needs it, basically. And I think along with fat, carbohydrates and fat have gotten a pretty bad rap in the like social eye or society's eye
especially
at times.
Carbs lately.
Yeah, exactly. Especially carbs. Like I think fats have making their way up, but back in society, fats got a really bad rap, especially like saturated fats, etc.
From the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. So carbohydrates, like what really fascinated me was like, it just teaches you in general that this is like your body's number one form of energy. So your body needs carbohydrates in the sense that, it needs glucose, so it takes it first. So there's a nice little lineup. So if you consume carbohydrate, fat, and protein, carbohydrates are digested first, then proteins and fats are last. So that's why fats are really slow digesting, generally the most satisfying type of food you can eat.
And the hardest to get rid of.
Yes, the hardest to get rid of, 100%. So, so your body's main source of energy is carbohydrate, which breaks down to glucose, and it uses the glucose as its main form of energy. Generally, like that's what people who do like really high intensive, like short high intensive HIIT sessions type
Which is
thing.
what we do in the gym here.
What we do here.
Yep.
Carbohydrates are fairly important, especially pre and post. So you can actually go very low carb throughout your day, but just intensify your carb loading pre and post, and you could actually function perfectly fine.
Yep.
Because all you're doing is just fueling your body for this moment it needs it. Fats. Fat has kind of become my favorite topic right now because I'm delving into it a lot. Fat is pretty crucial from like a hormonal point of view. So it helps with like cell production, reproduction, and also fat as a hole in your body acts as an organ, which is pretty cool in itself. So it helps produce the hormone leptin, and leptin is pretty much what helps maintain hunger levels. So if you've ever met someone who's done like a strict fat-free diet or something, they're usually the ones that are like ravenous.
Hungry all the time.
Yeah, and then majority of the time they're the type of like people generally involved in like a yo-yo diet where they end up breaking the diet, overeating and just put on a lot of weight because their body's just like, you've deprived me of something that I actually do need. We do need fats, but not delving into it, make sure it's good fats. And then what that also does is it like talks to your hypothalamus, which is in your brain, and also helps regulate body temperature, all these different types of things. So, if you're training and you're overheating all of a sudden, or, if you're out about and like your body temperature is not feeling right, that's generally something that could be wrong there.
Okay, I didn't know that. So, question there then is, if you're overheating a lot during a workout, I mean, most people get hot during a workout.
Yeah, it
anyway,
depends on like a person's body too.
Yeah, but if you get like more hotter than what you find is like normal, is that a lack of fats, or is that a?
It can come down to anything. Like it's all individual. It's all personalized. It can be. Yeah. Okay. So if someone's really not eating enough good fats for their body, and like that is happening, and they just can't regulate their own body temperature, that generally could be the only thing they need to fix. Oh, wow. It's generally just add a bit more olive oil and avocado through their diet. Yeah. And just improve the amount of fat that their body's got working for them. And secondly, which is the big next fad topic, which is ketogenic, like fat is pretty much the biggest, densest source of energy that our body could use. So once carbohydrates and glucose come out of the picture, that's what your body starts using straight off the bat. And then proteins, we need to survive and thrive. We actually can't live without protein. So protein's the most important of them all, which can then, that's with the argument that can take you and delve you deeper into vegan vegetarianism.
Yeah, protein is a big topic there.
Yeah, so protein is actually a very, very important thing for our body. Our body does need it just because other elements in your body, such as fats, etc., like deeper down cellular level, they travel with proteins. Like protein is what helps take them through your body. But top that off, quality recovery, quality
muscle building,
and also compared to carbohydrate and fat, our body doesn't store it. So that's a super important thing to remember is that if you consume carbohydrates turning into glucose, your body can actually put that away. Like the liver puts that away into storage. Same thing with fat, your body can put it away into storage, but you can't store protein. And we actually don't naturally produce 8 essential amino acids either. So you do need to consume protein to keep the whole chain flowing, basically.
That's the big discussion with amino acids right now, is whether or not the vegans, or if you're not the vegans, on a vegan diet, you can get enough of a complete amino acid profile. And actually, some of the latest studies are saying that as long as you get enough protein, that's not as important. But what is enough? I feel like it's different, right? Like if you're starving, or if you're in here thriving and you're you can eat whatever you want to eat, it's quite different.
It's all very individualized. I think certain bodies learn and adapt very quickly and handle it fine. Certain bodies don't. And when it comes to something like vegan or vegetarian, all I ever say to anyone is that's fantastic. I think it's a great choice, and I watched Sean do it for over 1.5 years. And I'm all for its ethical reasons, but at the same time, anyone who's ever approached me about it or started talking to me about it, I'm like, go see a dietitian.
You just got to plan it out.
Yeah, like make sure you have a good plan, make sure your supplements are set out, then you'll thrive off it. But like there are definitely people out there that end up like they have all the right intentions, and then I've just seen them go into this lull of rice, potato, lentil. And you're just like, you need to keep the variety up.
One of the things I wanted to mention in regards to protein is something that I learned being a trainer, and I had no idea about this for ages, and I suspect it's a bit like this at the gym as well, which is completely normal. I never really tracked how much protein I was getting during a day, and didn't really know how much I needed. But learning that knowledge was like made a big difference. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but generally, if you're trying to build muscle or even maintain muscle, you want to have about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So I'm roughly 70 kilos, which is 155 pounds. So I need about 155 pounds, not pounds, but that's grams of protein per day. And to put that in perspective, an average meal, and average is a very wide word here, but you're averaging around 20 to maybe even 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal. So if I eat 3 of those 100%. Meals, I'm still not hitting my protein. That was the biggest realization when I started looking into this, and that's when I started taking protein. But then actually, if you take protein, you can get a lot of protein pretty quickly, because 1 serving of protein in a protein shake can be 20 grams of protein there as well. So suddenly you take 2 shakes and you're at 40.
And you crank that straight away.
It happens pretty quickly. And I think, and the last thing I learned about that is at a certain point, your body doesn't really digest the protein anymore. It's not like I need 300 grams of protein right every day.
I think if your body like is not digesting it very well, like you've really overdone it. Like I think it's pretty hard to overdo your intake of protein unless you're like Arnie consuming like that kilo of steak back in the day or whatever.
And you have a lot of protein shakes.
Exactly. Or you're annihilating shakes, do you know what I mean? As like, you know, you're at work or you have snacky, I'm going to have a shake or something. And like when you add it up, it's quite a lot for your body to break down.
Some people have 3 shakes a day, which is, you know, almost 80 to 100 grams just in shakes.
But
we've got a dog in the gym.
I know. wants to play.
Lucky's made friends with a new dog in the gym.
Yeah, so like there's definitely a good breakdown. One thing I've actually realized when it comes to this gym, and like I've started working with 4 people here recently. And what's made me notice with them is that people aren't actually eating enough. So like I've been working with them, they kind of ask for their breakdown and I give them their individual like nutritional breakdown. So I can tell them, you know, according to your body, your weight, your age, your height, you know, your level of activity, you know, what you want to gain, what you want to maintain, what you want to lose. I send them that over and then everyone just gets super shocked to just find out like I should be consuming like 2,800 calories a day, and I'm just like...
There are 1,400 or something.
Sometimes I'm with people that they should be consuming almost 3,500. And Sean was another one of them as well. Like, you know, he goes, you know, what if I wanted to maintain my health, etc. And I sent that through to him. And then he just was just like, I'm not hitting that at all. I think a lot of people get surprised to find out that they're like, even if they feel like they're constantly having a solid 3 meals, maybe 2 snacks, they might not realize it's enough.
I'll give my example again, which is exactly to your point. I was trying to, when I competed hard in CrossFit, my number 1 weakness really was strength because I'm a smaller person. Moving heavy weight was difficult. So I was like, all right, I've got to put on weight. And to put on weight, I had to eat 5 massive meals a day. They weren't small meals. And that's to the point where I love food, but back then I was over it because you're eating so much to try and get enough calories in. And I gained 7 kilos, which is almost nothing. I went from 70 to 77. And that was hard
big,
work. It was 10%. It's quite a lot in percentage. But that didn't last very long. And as soon as I stopped, just went back to, okay, I'm just going to eat, you know, normal, I lost the weight again. So if you're trying to do it, depends what your goal is, right? But if you're 100%. Trying to do it, you need to eat a lot.
And you have to have your goals intact. That's the number one thing. I think a lot of people kind of immediately send me their asking fors like in return. And please.
Hopefully the dog is not going to pee on the grass.
Can you scare him out, Lockie, when you get a chance?
Lockie, you're responsible for the dog hair. That's not yours. Cute dog though.
He's gorgeous. What were we saying?
Eating enough calories.
Oh, yeah. So, like, I think people, I still am really lost about what I was going at.
Well, I wanted to ask you a question, though, about, so the stuff that I learned about protein, so how to eat 1 gram per pound of body weight, etc.
Yeah.
Are there any easy-ish rules around carbohydrates? Because I think a lot of people don't know how to measure the carbohydrates or how much they should be having. Is there anything similar-ish around that?
So again, carbohydrates break down to everyone's certain goals. So yes, there's a way that you can measure how much carbohydrate you should be consuming. So it all breaks, like it has a full like formula or like a calculation that you can work off. So I think it was, I wish I remembered this for today, but you can actually say, I think it's you grab your pound body weight, you divide it by a certain number, times it by 4. Yeah, it was like a full like equation that you could work out to each person's individual needs. And then that would break down for you exactly how much grams per day you should be consuming of carbohydrates. It breaks down how many grams you should be consuming of fats and how much grams you should be consuming of protein. Per calorie, I think it's like, it's per gram, you've got 4 calories to a carbohydrate. Per gram, you've got 4 calories to protein. And per gram, it's 9 calories to fat.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're always going to get more calorie-dense meals out of higher fat meals, generally.
Yep, so you're getting more calories from it,
Yeah.
basically. Roughly how... Well, let's just...
for example, as well, there's body types too. So you can break it down to endomorph, mesomorph, ectomorph.
Yep.
And then the way you can kind of look at it that way, so this is like a level 2 client, this is what they teach you with that sense, is that they would say that a typical endomorph, who is generally quite larger hip, a bigger build of a person, they should be eating probably a little bit more like 40% fats, protein, than less carbohydrate. Mesomorphs, which are like the kind of straight athletic builds, are pretty lucky in the sense of even. It's like 30, 30, 40. And then an ectomorph, who are the really slim, tall people who struggle to put on weight, generally the people who are like, I want to gain muscle mass, their rating is like 55% carbohydrate.
Yeah, way higher.
Yeah, way higher, because they just need, because they're generally ectomorphs have a really fast metabolism, like that's the general gist of them, and then they just need fuel that's not slow burning, they need faster burning, like they need to feed the speed of their metabolism basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're throwing some words out here that might be a little bit foreign for the listener. No, don't be sorry, that's good, but I'll try and clarify it a little bit to put myself in the mind of someone that's listening that doesn't know these expressions or words or classifications of people. So before you even set any nutritional goals, there's a couple of important things you have to put in place. Number one, obviously your goal. And 2 major goals can be gaining weight, like I try to do, or losing weight. Very different. And then you should look at what type of body type you are, like the 3 that you mentioned.
100%.
And then also your activity level during the week.
Yes.
So if you don't know the answer to those 3 things, it's going to be very difficult to advise any nutritional direction for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Cool.
Yeah. Like you can't be giving, let's just say the 2 same type of people with the same goal came in. One person has a desk job 9 to 5 and then comes and trains 1 hour, 5 hours a week, 5 days a week. This person here, same build, same goals, is a tradesman and is out about, lifting things, working very like physically taxing job 9 to 5 and then comes in and does an hour session. They're not going to have the same ratio or calorie intake, not even close. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the points here. We're probably jumping around a little bit.
Sorry.
We understand that can be confusing.
I really love this topic.
But nutrition is not very streamlined. It's a lot of different.
It's so individualized as well. Like a number one thing when people talk to me about like fads and exactly like what you said, game changers and everything, they come up to me and I'm like, all I can say is like, and I think the best thing even nutritionist or dietitian could say is like, all right, well, let's work about it for you and let's see if it works for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's very individual.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, your second point here on your takeaways that you sent me is actually something that we've gone through already a little bit, but maybe we can clarify it for the viewer. So the second point you said was a great takeaway for you was the different types of people or clients that you will work with as a trainer or someone who's a nutritionist. The clients that you work with and how to categorize them. So can you maybe give us an overview of how you would categorize different type of clients and what that means?
Yeah. So like the best way that I could break it down, the way that they help break it down, is levels of discipline. That's how I kind of think of it.
Yeah, it's a good way to say it.
Yeah, so they would say that's why majority of your people that come in are level 1. And they even say in the book that like you could have an athlete who's disciplined in their training regime and like just wants to improve their nutrition, but they would still be a level 1 because there's also a reason, do you know what I mean, that they might not be hitting their goals. And level 1 tries to go back, like it just makes you analyze people and take everything back down to basics for them. So you're not with a level 1, like you don't really want to be like, all right, here's your plan, off you go, have fun with it, because generally they're like
not that disciplined with it.
Yes, and they're like the all or nothing mentality. So they're super motivated, and then if one thing happens, they're all in for the cakes or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like I've been there myself.
Yeah.
Like if they just go, oh, screw it, I'll break it today, I'll start tomorrow or something like that, or the like excessive yo-yo dieters who like go into different fads, don't stay long enough. You have all these different types of people that come along. And even there's certain people that could be so educated in their training regime, what they're doing, so good at what they're doing, but have no idea as to what a carbohydrate is and what it does and why it's going to benefit you. And why it is important to eat it or not important for you type thing. So level 1 just tries to break down the simplicities and just create like building block action plans for people. So it has to like stop people and kind of say to them, look, I'm not just going to give you X. We're going to have to work through a
weekly meal plan, for instance.
Yeah. Like I'm not going to give you, do this for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Because at the end of the day, if you decide to stop that, it's all out the window.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't really guarantee that people are going to stick to that for life. So you want habitual change, basically. Like you want to change habit, you want to change routine. So you tell them to go off and then write like a 3-day meal plan. And you say like, tell me what you ate Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we get back together.
Okay, so you're asking a level 1 client, like maybe your number 1 step with a level 1 client is, hey, go back home, track exactly what you're eating for the next 3 days and give it back to me.
Yeah.
It's exactly... Actually, that's always what I did with my clients as well, even before Precision Nutrition. And one caveat I always said was one of those days has to be a Saturday or Sunday. Yes. They're quite different.
Yes. They say that as well. Yeah. Like it has to be almost like a weekend. Don't go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because generally those 3 days together will be, yeah. But like you said, like maybe Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Do you know what I mean? Or like Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
So like you do want to see what a non-routine day is, because they're generally the days that people fall off the bandwagon.
And they say, oh yeah, but on Sunday I had a birthday or we had drinks for a reason. I'm like, yeah, but that's life.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
And sometimes
like.
It happens every weekend.
Yeah.
And it adds
for a lot
up
of people
right now. Do you know what I mean? Like December is the biggest hit for people.
I think this is actually a great exercise for anyone listening at the gym that had never done this before, to track it. Unless you're very OCD with stuff, I'd say be a bit careful with tracking, because
you can get obsessive about it.
A bit obsessive with that. If that's you, don't worry too much.
Yeah.
But most people will be surprised with the stuff they put in their mouth for 3 days.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And especially,
water.
Can I just say, like, women in particular, like
I think guys are bad at too.
Yeah, guys are bad too, but women are actually notoriously known to be, they have a saying for it in the book, but I call it demon eaters, is that like you just pick things up and munch and you wouldn't even remember to write that down, because to you didn't eat it mentally. Like it's not mindful. It's the opposite of mindful eating, basically. Like you're not paying attention to the fact that you're actually eating it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people fall victim to this. But yeah, so they would go off, do a 3-day tracking, give it back to me. And then what it does again is it doesn't tell you to go, okay, you've seen all the problems. Here's all the problems, go fix it. You actually pick one. And you would say, okay, look, I saw that at morning tea with your coffee for 3 days straight, you decided to eat 3 cookies in the office. Maybe on Sunday, here's a little recipe, prep your own almond chocolate chip cookies, take them into work with you and see if you can sub out those cookies. And you just start doing like weekly one-step action plans.
To create a habitual change, like
exactly.
you said.
Yeah. So then, small little things. And like they're not saying like you just ate this, don't eat this. They just try and teach people to just make a better option. Because usually if you kind of end up being one of those like coaches who says like, you know, you just add a block of chocolate, don't do that. Just say to them, maybe, you know, buy yourself dark chocolate and it's more filling and grosser.
I love dark chocolate.
Yeah, so do I. But some, like in the beginning, I hated it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can buy 100% dark chocolate from Harris Farm and that is disgusting. But no joke, if I have a bit of that, my cravings go, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
All right, I don't want chocolate again.
Yeah. So you taught yourself a trick to create that habitual change.
Yes, exactly. You're just picking one thing and changing one thing at a time. And once that thing is almost second nature, you go to the next. That's why like creating habitual change is actually a long process. And a lot of people have been sold the quick pill. Like, do you know what I mean? Like you'll see change in 3 days. Next week you will be 10 kilos less. And just like if you really, really want to make a change, and sometimes depending on different metabolisms, it can take up to 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw a book recommendations out, book recommendation out that I actually is surprising for a lot of people because it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with training, but Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Okay.
It's awesome for looking at how habits are created. So right now you have a ton of habits that you're not even aware of.
Yeah, the second nature.
And then also how to change them. It's an amazing book. Like if you want to have a wish list for Christmas, it's really, really good. It's on Audible and everything, and it talks exactly about how the stuff that you're saying as well, and different personalities and what the different personalities needs to do to create a habit change. Yeah, because it's different. It's not. And
majority of the time, nutrition is habit change. Like if you can teach yourself to do small habitual changes, like your food will change tenfold. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just changing those little things that you know already tick for you, massive change.
So would you say that the majority of the clients at the gym are level 1?
Yes.
And
straight off the bat. I could probably pick 1 or 2 people that I would take to level 2. And level 2 breaks things down on a more personalized, deeper level, like I was saying before. So you look more into telling them what their physiological breakdown is as like a person, as a female, a male, then like what their goals are, and then you use that equation and then you can send them home saying this is what you should be targeting per day. And they're generally the more like disciplined OCD people that can go, all right, and they're happy to stick to that. And like they just learn that that's what their body needs and they'll do it straight off the bat.
It's like Brent Fikowski.
Yes. Yeah. Very like very mathematical personalities. Do you know what I mean? People who are very like type A almost.
Yeah.
Are pretty good in that sense. And then level 3, I wouldn't have anyone in here for a level 3. Yeah. But level 3 are people that are like almost on par with you for having done the course, understand nutrition on a pretty high level, understand the benefits and like the possible deficiencies, etc. And they're also people who have a goal and are highly disciplined in a sport. So you're looking at like water restrictions and water cutting on like physique models and stuff like that. Like you go down to a whole different level.
Fighters and stuff like that.
Exactly.
It's just, that's
weight cuts.
And we should maybe explain that level 1, 2, and 3, it doesn't mean that level 3 is better.
No.
It's just the type of person, the type of lifestyle that you're in, right?
Yeah. Like even Precision Nutrition constantly throughout level 3's unit are saying this is not a healthy norm. Like teach your level 3 client that this is for X amount of time and how to wean back into normal level 1. And they even say like level 2 can always go back to level 1 to make it easier. Level 3 can go back to level 2, etc. Like you just got to do building blocks. That's why you see a lot of, it's like especially like physique models and fitness models. If they don't have the right coach taking them through to these 2 things, they just like plummet in weight. Do you know what I mean? Like it's done, they've achieved what they want, and then they've gone and just packed on like 5-10 kilos.
Not healthy.
Yeah.
And some of the nutrition coaches that I know, they're always worried as well about people that have an unhealthy relationship with food. They should not go up in the levels.
Not at all.
If you got someone who's in level 1 and they're prone to eating disorders,
Yeah.
the last thing you want to do is push them to level 2.
Yeah.
Like that's way, way worse for them. So
Yeah.
that's something
So
important to
Precision
keep in mind as
Nutrition
well.
call it disordered eating.
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
their little thing of saying it, yeah.
Yeah.
So they just said it's just like distort mentality towards food, and like that's even yo-yo dieters. Like a yo-yo dieting is a disordered eating habit.
Yeah.
And they just like they teach you through that as well. That like even though they might be very good and diligent, they're like the big X no-nos to level 2 and level 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So we classified most of the clients at the gym probably fit into level 1, which is
100%.
natural.
Yeah.
And some of the advice, if they want to do small improvements, is track what you're eating for a couple of days, or at least just have a look at it, and then understand what can create a positive change in your diet, right?
Yeah, 100%. And be mindful, like while you're tracking what you're eating, like accepting it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's
that's
not
another
bad
big
eating a
one.
chocolate.
Yeah, yeah. Like if someone looks at it and goes, "Oh my god, I ate horribly," just go like, "That was that day. We can fix this." It's mindfulness and accepting it as well. I think a lot of people can go down the rabbit hole the other way by shaming themselves.
Not healthy.
Yeah, not healthy again.
One of my big takeaways when I was tracking everything I ate was water, like back to hydration.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not drinking any
Enough.
water here.
Yeah.
And then to build the habit of getting more water was to get, reusable water bottle and keep refilling it. And then after a while, that becomes a habit and you're drinking more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you'll also notice that like one day comes along where that, your routine's changed and you haven't drunk enough water, your body will tell you.
Yeah.
Like that day will come where you got that habit of drinking water, and then all of a sudden, like a Saturday or a Sunday, you're out and about, you haven't drunk enough water, you'll feel it straight away.
Yeah.
Generally with hunger.
Yeah. Yeah. Craving fat over the day after you.
Yeah.
Okay, next point on your list is breaking down each body type or shape to specific caloric breakdowns and how to calculate each individual needs.
Yes.
So again, similar-ish points, but
yeah. So I kind of covered that a bit before, but they do give you this brilliant equation on how to break down everything for people. And we are kicking this off next year. So we are into the new year when the gym comes back in, like the silly season's done and everyone is that little bit motivated to fix their nutritional
2020.
needs. Yeah. We are going to be kicking this off as an extra service that we have here, and people can come, and it's not going to be like a generalized meal plan that we've done in the past. It's going to be very individualized to each person and their own needs. There'll be certain people that, I'll be happy to give them what they want with the plan. Some people I'll probably call in to have probably more one-on-ones with me in that sense. And I'm more than happy if someone, don't be afraid to pull me aside and say, I want to have more of a one-on-one sit down with you and discuss my breakdown, because I'm more than happy to talk people through it and how to bring that breakdown change into their lives. But I think a lot of people really with this realize, and like I said before and emphasized, is they're going to realize that they don't eat enough. And it doesn't even come down to, so Precision Nutrition are really big on measuring and weighing through your hand. So a few of our members know this. I've given them the plan already. And they pretty much just say, you don't have to constantly weigh and measure or count calories. You can actually do it with your own hand. It's the best portable measuring device that you can have. And they say that generally for your own build, your protein serving is the size of your palm. And then your greens is the size of your fist. It's the depth of your fist. A cupped serving is your starchy carbohydrates. So you're looking at oats, brown rice, sweet potato, etc. And then a thumb size is your serving of fats. But then people are going to get breakdowns, and their daily goals are going to be, all right, today you need to get 5 servings of your palm of protein. Today you need to get 7 servings of cupped carbohydrate. Some people will get 2 servings of cupped carbohydrate, 10 servings of your fist. And I think on a lower carb ketogenic diet, you can get up to 32 thumb sizes of fats. Yeah. Whereas the other way around, if you're doing a more higher carbohydrate diet, because you're a build whose metabolism burns faster, you would have almost up to 10 cupped handfuls of carbohydrate in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. It's pretty cool.
You can tell pretty quickly how you get a better gauge of what you're eating when you do that.
Yes.
You're not just blindingly putting stuff on your plate.
Yeah, and you're not trying to guess either, so then you're shortcutting yourself in a way. And then it's the best thing to do when you're eating out.
Yeah,
So like you just get a plate of something and you can just go, all right, well, my steak should probably be about this big, so maybe take a little bit off, or you look at it and go, damn, it's not big enough.
Need more.
But yeah, so it can help you when you're eating out as well, and just to help you mentally break your plate down for you. But it's the best form of measuring and the easiest way for like the everyday common person to follow, which I think was a beautiful take out of that.
Let's go into something that you just mentioned, because the point right here is how to calculate each individual needs. And like you said, most people are going to probably be surprised that they need to eat more calories during the day.
Yeah.
So one, is there an app or any way that it's easy to track how many calories you need? And why is it scary for people often to add calories to their daily intake?
I think it's a big social society thing. Like generally what things have come out with, and, we've grown up, we unfortunately as like our generation-ish have grown up in the view of the 90s where no fat was the big one, like low fat, higher protein diets were the big fad, and eat less. And like generally a calorie deficit will always help lose weight. If your goal is to lose weight, you should be in a calorie deficit, but in the healthiest of ways. Like I've worked with people who said to me, they came in cheering and they're like, I had 900 calories yesterday. I literally fell to the floor. Like,
how are you functioning?
Yeah. I was like, are you hungry? That type of thing, no. Like you should have your calculation of what a healthy calorie deficit is.
And keep in mind, when people say that, keep in mind, you can't live your whole life in calorie
deficit. And then 100%, and top that off, calorie deficit is not a long-term lifestyle. So you get to your goal, then you slowly bring in the maintenance side of things, and then you slowly build that up, and then you hold at your healthy maintenance level. And then another thing that they talk about in there as well, which depends on like how people want to go with performance and even losing weight but still keeping the calories up, is carb cycling and calorie cycling. So like they say that you can have certain days where you go, so like you can probably draw a line of this person's calorie intake daily. You can say that on Tuesday you'll go below this line and you'll have less calories. Let's just say even better, a rest day, because you're not actually exerting or burning extra calories. It's a day that you're not training. And then the next day you add that little bit and you spike your body, you shock your body. Generally it's very good to shock that body that little bit. Like falling your body into a routine doesn't help with, like maybe down the line you want to change something up. You really...
What you mean is varying your calorie intake.
Daily, yeah. It doesn't have to even be daily. Like you can do 3 days of the same calorie intake, rest day, less calories, next day, spike the calories. So like a calorie cycle. Calorie cycling is pretty similar to carb cycling in the sense that you just kind of reduce the amount of carbs you eat. Same thing, less calories, less carbs. Again, less carbohydrates on your rest day because your body doesn't necessarily need it. You just want to up your protein intake for recovery circuit, like for recovery needs, and fats for satisfactory needs. And then you bring that carbohydrate back to your training day.
Yeah. One thing that is tricky with that I realized when I started tracking was that on my really big training days, I would not feel as hungry, like I lose a little bit of appetite. So on the days that I really should be eating more calories, it was harder to eat it. And when I look back at my training, I didn't eat enough.
Yeah.
Whereas on my rest days, because I'm walking around at home being bored, I ate way more.
Yeah.
So I did the opposite of what you should be doing. And I think that's pretty common with people.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's not necessarily the worst thing to do either. Do you know what I mean? Like in that you're naturally calorie cycling there, but probably the opposite way to what a recommendation would be. But you're still doing it. Do you know what I mean? And like your body's gonna, if you're pretty intuitive with your body, the best thing to do is just listen to it. And it's usually really hard if someone gets their, recommended calorie intake. Like I had one person in here that I'm working with that wants to gain weight and muscle mass, and like there's a bit of a shocker to their lives when they saw the calories they should be consuming per day. And like again, it's not like the be all and end all if you're not hitting that the next day. Yeah. So again, like it's just a matter of like that's what you should be targeting. It doesn't mean you're going to die tomorrow if you don't, but just try and add that extra 200 calories the next day, 200 calories again. And like if you're not feeling hungry, like don't force yourself in a way, or just aim for fat bombs. Like fats, like I said to you again, 9 calories to a gram, like you're going to get your intake from fats faster if you're really struggling to intake carbohydrate and protein for more calories.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a good advice, maybe check in with you, but some of the things that I did when I was adding calories was after dinner, I would eat an avocado with salt.
Like that's fats. Do you know what I mean? Like that just cranks it.
Calories.
Yeah. Like you just got to make sure that you're not overdoing it.
I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, everything in moderation and in good health. But no, it's good. And like at the end of the day, I also would never tell people to get obsessed with measuring and being very calorie addicted in the sense. Like I don't like forcing people to say like, okay, look, you know, you have to hit X amount of calories today. That means that, you know, like start counting, start tracking, use this app. And some people, like you even mentioned before, become a bit OCD and get obsessive about it. And it can turn into an unhealthy habit to constantly be worrying about tracking your calories and making sure you're not overeating or undereating, etc. That's why with Precision, again, like they really try and enforce the palm, and they don't want people going onto an app and measuring calories exactly. They want people using a scale measuring exactly. They just want people getting used to what is good for them from a portable, measurable point of view.
Maybe we should try and post, I think there's some infographics or something online that we can post and give people an overview, because visual, it's a bit hard if you just
I can definitely send you everything.
And we can post it on the thread in the members page so people can see. Okay, we actually went through the last point right now, which was
the carb and calorie cycling. Sorry,
no, that was
I was just ahead of everything.
We were ahead of it. So do you want to summarize a little bit the things that we went through? What skills do you think is beneficial for the members at the gym to have as a minimum? And we don't want people to be obsessive, but some knowledge around nutrition is beneficial for their own health, right?
Yeah,
to have
so
an understanding.
A few people I've worked in here before, and like I've done over the last year, even before I did precision nutrition and just educating myself slowly into that, my number one takeaway with food is mindful eating. Like, I know people are just kind of like rolling their eyes and like, oh, this is not like this is not like a science-based measurement. Do you know what I mean? Like, give me something that's, you know, visual. But no joke, like we went back to the beginning. Like, if you become aware of everything you're eating and take it in an objective point of view, not subjective. Just accept that you've eaten that and that's what you're eating and that's what your habits are. Then you start making that change. And I think that like as soon as you become mindful of what you're eating, everything can change, because I think a lot of people eat blindly, if that makes any sense.
People do,
and another thing that I'm really, really big on, which can change someone's life completely and doesn't even have to be like cravings and stuff, preparation.
Yes.
Like preparation is key. Do you know what I mean? Like prepare to, like, I think of what is it? Prepare to fail. Fail to prepare, you're prepared to fail.
Yeah.
Like that's my number one thing when it comes to food. And if you don't prepare yourself for the week with lunches, if you don't know what you're going to have for lunch, if you don't know what you're going to have for dinner, if you don't know what you're going to have for breakfast, you're more inclined to eat that last minute thing, that sausage roll from 7-Eleven, or constantly eat that bacon and egg roll. Like you're just more inclined to get the last minute things. Again, if lunch isn't prepared and you've gone 4 hours without eating, you automatically go for that twirl or that picnic or that Mars bar, because your body is, and your body is just like, give me something. So I've constantly reiterated to the girls in here and like any of the guys that are working with me as well, is like, if you just have it ready, you're more inclined to eat it, and you're more inclined to then just be like, well, I'm full. Yeah. I'm good, moving on.
Not to mention financially, when you're preparing lunch, you just save so much money.
Oh, 100%.
I've been really good with that the last few months, and just instead of going to the coffee shop or whatever, just eating something.
Yeah.
It's just
and even like targeting your own things. Like I'm actually okay. Like if my lunch isn't ready, I have the freedom to go home and make my lunch sometimes. But I'm a big snacker and I'm aware of it. From mindful eating, I became aware of the fact that like if I'm bored, if I'm like doing something or like I'm trying to waste time, I'll always go try and hunt for little things to eat on. So my fridge is full of little knickknacks.
Like healthy snacks, you mean?
Yes, like I always prepare my own little like banana muffins, or like there's always some sort of muffin, or there's always some sort of like peanut butter slice or something in the fridge that I can always turn to. And same thing, if I'm bringing something here, it's nuts. Like I just have to have munchies around me that are healthier options because I'll notice that I'll be like, I want chips. Like, I want chips, I want chocolate,
Awesome. All right, I think we went through some massive points in this one. And nutrition is fun. And it's one thing I wanted to wrap it up with is to say, it's great to discuss nutrition with other members of the gym, but it's also okay to disagree. I think sometimes 100%. People get a bit rallied up when they talk about nutrition, vegan diet, how much meat they're eating, and it's totally okay that people are different. Just if you don't disagree with someone that you talk with about nutrition, just take on board what they're saying, and that's their opinion, and whether or not they're right or wrong doesn't really matter for you. You decide yourself what you're eating.
Exactly. Yes. I'm fully with that. And you just got to understand that it's all individual. Like if something's working for you, there's no point in changing it just because someone's preaching the Bible on the other side.
Absolutely. Okay. Summarize again what's happening in the new year in regards to the members here and what you're going to offer them.
Yeah. So we do have. So what I will be doing is putting into action that equation for people, and then breaking it down to more of a simplistic form. So we will be offering. I'll be offering a nutrition coaching service into the new year. So people will have the option to be able to work with me one-on-one on that level of if you really sit down and you're thinking to yourself, like, I need help in the step-by-step habitual changes. They're the people I think that need to work with me one-on-one a little bit more and make sure that it's more tailored. They're having the time to make that change. And then if there's people out there that are like, I'm more than happy to go home, cook it, prep it, and eat it. Like I'm just disciplined with my food. Food is not emotional to me. Food is information, and that's it. Then they're the people I'm more than we're going to be offering their personal breakdown according to their own goals and needs, plus what their activity level is outside of the gym and their activity level is in the gym. That's all calculated in for them, and then they get handed a full-blown nutrition guide that guides them through how they can achieve to get to where they should be for their goals.
Awesome. Hopefully a lot of people jump on that, and you at the least minimum you learn so much about what you're eating with
yourself.
Stuff like that. You're being, like you said, more mindful about what you eat.
100%.
Okay, guys. Two things that we didn't run through, which is probably going to be big topics for other episodes of the podcast, is stress and sleep. They also affect a lot of your goals, but we're not going to delve into it.
I could do a whole podcast on sleep. Sleep's like my number one love.
And as well, nutrition. It's not like this episode, and we've covered it all. Far from it. So we're probably going to do more episodes on nutrition.
100%.
All right, thanks a lot, Tash.
Thank you.